Does that block your view?
No. Candace wasn't sure whether you wanted it all the way up there.
Oh, yeah.
We're ready? We're ready now.
All right, it is 9:31. Let's call to order the regular meeting of the Western Municipal Water District Board. Tammy, would you please conduct a roll call?
Yes, good morning, thank you. Director Torres. Director Dinstedt.
Present.
Director Roten.
Here.
Director Rizvi.
Good morning, I'm here.
Good morning. President Gardner.
I am here.
Thank you, President Gardner. You do have a quorum today. Before we get started, I would just like to remind the board that we are still in the midst of our AV upgrade project on the dais. And as it was at the last meeting, our microphones will be, as they call it, hot. They're on constantly for the whole meeting. So just be aware that all of your conversations could be picked up, and if we need to mute, we can mute you from this end. But we are working on that, and hopefully by the next meeting, we will have that piece finished. But thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, brings us then to the Pledge of Allegiance, and Bilal Marini is going to lead us. Welcome, Bilal. Will you tell us just a quick bit about you before we start?
Good morning, everybody. My name is Bilal Marini, and I've been here at the Western for 4 months, and I'm an engineer. I work for the development department, and I love it here. Please join me for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Bilal.
My chair is really. Sorry.
Tammy, do we have public comments?
I have no request to speak in person. We did receive one public comment yesterday before the 4:30 p.m. deadline. That comment was provided to the Board of Directors and is on the dais. If the public wishes to see the comment, they can contact the Board Secretary's office, and I'll be happy to provide it to them.
Okay, thank you. And there's no one in the room who wishes to speak.
There is not.
Okay. Brings us then to the consent calendar. Does anybody wish to pull an item for discussion? If not, is there a motion for approval?
So moved. Second.
Okay, motion and a second. When the system is ready, Tammy, would you do a roll call vote, please?
Director Torres?
Yes.
Director Dinstedt?
Aye.
Director Roten?
Yes.
Director Rizvi? President Gardner?
Aye.
Thank you. The motion carries 5-0.
Thank you. Mr. Miller, do we have anything to add to the agenda?
Nothing to add today.
Okay. We have one action item. Got to talk about some finances.
We do, and I am going to turn it over to our CFO, Kevin Mascaro, to talk about our AQFR.
Well, this is fantastic, where the accountants have the entire meeting. So I will,
It's finally evolved to where it
we
should be.
finally have arrived, and of course, I will make my 30-minute comments as brief as possible. But good morning, directors. This item is a staff recommendation to receive and file Western Municipal Water District's Annual Comprehensive Financial Report, often called the ACFR, for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2023. This report contains our audited financial statements, and it is important to note that Western Water is responsible for the accuracy of the data presented and for ensuring completeness, fairness, and inclusion of all necessary disclosures. So I'm going to start off with an overview of the financial performance for the year, and then I'll turn it over to Tiffany Fung, a director with Clifton Larson Allen CPAs. And Tiffany has some required communication to make to the board. Each of you have a copy of the ACFR here on the dais. Makes for riveting reading. It is prepared and issued annually by the Finance Department, and it's just shy of 100 pages. This report reflects Western Water's commitment to financial stewardship, which is one of our core strategic priorities, and presents our continued strong financial position. Data and transparency and education, we have posted the ACFR on our website. There are 4 sections to this report. There's an introduction section, which is an excellent overview of Western Water and the services we provide, including major initiatives. There's a financial section, a required supplementary information section, and a statistical section. Included in the financial section is a narrative called Management's Discussion and Analysis. And this 8-page narrative is the best way for most people to understand how this agency is doing financially. Now for some highlights. Our revenues exceeded our expenditures by $14 million. This is $14 million plus capital contributions of $9 million, means that our net position increased by $23 million or 5%. Net position equates to equity in the non-government world. The $9 million that came from capital contributions consists of capacity charges from developers, plus the value of contributed physical assets from developers, such as pipelines, and grant proceeds. And so to put the $23 million increase in net position in context, it equals 13% of our total operating and non-operating revenues, plus capital contributions, which totaled $171 million for the year. I think it's a very healthy percentage to have. Not too high, but certainly not too low. So besides growth in net position, it's also worth noting that our assets grew by about $21 million, or 3%, to a total of $788 million, net of accumulated depreciation. Now, if we were to add back the amount of depreciation to the original cost of the assets recorded on our books, our assets would be a little over $1 billion, which is a milestone that we achieved this last year, $1 billion. So besides growth in net position, I already said that. This year's ACFR incorporates a new method for reporting Western's subscription-based computer software, as required by the Government Accounting Standard Board's new pronouncement 96. In many cases, Western is required to purchase the annual license for various software products in order to obtain functional and security updates, as well as receive maintenance support services. Implementing this new pronouncement and incorporating its impact in the financial statements was particularly complicated, but I'm pleased to say staff did an outstanding job accomplishing it. As mentioned 2 years ago, the ACFR now includes financial information for our retirement medical benefits plan, which is an irrevocable trust set up to pay for retiree medical benefits in accordance with the plan documents, and is normally funded each year by Western Water. You may recall that we were overfunded by almost $6.6 million at the end of the prior fiscal year 22. Being overfunded is a good thing. Now, at the end of fiscal year 23, we were overfunded by about $7 million, a small increase. This means that our trust assets of $21 million were greater than our retiree benefit liabilities by $7 million, or 50%. That's impressive. It means that we didn't have to fund the trust last fiscal year nor this current fiscal year. That's a savings of about $700,000 per year. As you know, many governments have retiring medical benefit trusts that are substantially underfunded. So this is very positive news for Western Water. And once again, we will submit this report to the Government Finance Officers Association for consideration of their Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting Award. And Western's ACFR was given this distinguished award for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2022, and we have every reason to believe that this current ACFR will receive that award as well. This highly complex report would not be possible without the dedication, capability, and intelligence of our accounting staff. They are the best. I'm particularly proud of them this year because they not only had to compile this report, including a very technical software license reporting pronouncement, but they also are very busy implementing a new accounting software, which is a substantial time commitment in addition to one's regular duties. This accounting software implementation has been a Herculean effort that will go live before the end of this fiscal year. So in the audience today, we have staff that worked directly on the ACFR that I'd like to recognize. So we have Veronica Zhang. Veronica, you can just lift up your hand. She's our Director of Finance. She's also the project manager on the accounting side for the software implementation.
I would have made him stand up, Kevin, but you know, you can do
Veronica,
what
if
you
you
want.
could stand up and
There
maybe
you
walk,
go, okay.
walk around the entire, no, I'm kidding. Veronica has just done an outstanding job along with Michael Mauser. He's online as our Deputy Director of IT in the software implementation. I'm very pleased with them. We also have Peter George, our controller. There's Peter. He's been a tremendous asset in addition to our team over the last year. We have Christian Roman, our senior accountant. She's the non-new person, and so basically, anytime you wondered, well, what are we going to do, you go to Christian, and she would have the answer for us. So Christian Roman's been outstanding as our senior accountant. We also added a senior accountant, Lynn Chi Cantuba. Here's Lynn Chi. I'll just brag a little bit. We stole her from Corona, and so she hit the ground already running, and she's in charge of our debt, the care and feeding of our debt, and many other areas too. She's done an outstanding job. Recently added is Amanda Ohm. Amanda is an accountant too, CPA. We stole her from a CPA firm. She's handling you might recall, we added a grant accountant. The board approved a grant accountant addition. So we only hire smart people, and so I'm glad we added Amanda as one of our smart staff here. And then last but not least is Jose Garcia. He's an accountant too. Jose, we stole from the CDA. We just don't like to reinvent the wheel, you know what I'm saying? So anything we have a question about the CDA, hey, why are they doing that? Or why is this doing this? He's our go-to man. And again, he was able to hit the ground running. So thank you all. Again, they worked very hard on this 100-page document in addition to, preparing testing scripts, learning the new software, testing it, and developing test procedures and on and on. So my heartfelt appreciation of this team. I'm the most proud CFO there is in this region, I'll tell you that. So before I turn it over to our external auditor, does the board have any questions for staff? And please, nothing that involves math.
Questions? No, I would just observe that your staff reminds me a great deal of this board. There is one lone guy and, in your case, 5 women. Congratulations.
Well, thankfully, Jose does have Spencer Melendez, who's out today, but he's a fairly new accountant one. He's not here, right?
Yep.
And we stole him from our very own customer service department because he got his
Yes.
master's degree in accounting and he's completed his CPA exam, but we greatly value Spencer as well, too. So Jose and Spencer holding down the fort on that side of the gender spectrum. Good. All righty, well, then I'll go ahead and turn it over to Tiffany Fung. Tiffany is an audit director with Clifton Larson and Allen, and she will comment on their audit opinion and other communications that she needs to make. So Tiffany, it's all yours.
Thank you, Kevin. Good morning, Board of Directors. Again, I'm Tiffany Fung with CLA, and I manage this engagement. So I'll just make a short presentation on the results of the audit. The scope of our services was to perform an audit of the district's annual financial statements for fiscal year ended June 30th, 2023, in accordance with auditing standards generally accepted in the United States, as well as government auditing standards. We were also engaged to perform a single audit of the district's federal grants, which is currently in progress. So some key points to go over in the auditor's report. For the audit of the district's financial statements, we issued an unmodified opinion, which is the highest level of opinion, and it means that we believe the financial statements present fairly in all material respects the financial position and changes in financial position of the district as of June 30th, 2023. And we believe the audit evidence that we've obtained is sufficient and appropriate to provide a basis for our audit opinion. We reported a change in accounting principle this year as the district was required to implement GASB 96, as Kevin had stated, based on the subscription-based information technology arrangements as of the beginning of the fiscal year, July 1st, 2022. This did not have an effect on our opinion. So the auditor's report also states that management is responsible for the preparation and fair presentation of the financial statements, and our responsibility as auditors is to express an opinion and to obtain reasonable assurance about whether the financial statements as a whole are free from material misstatements. The last paragraph is about the other reporting that is required under government auditing standards on our consideration of the district's internal controls over financial reporting. In planning and performing our audit, we consider the district's internal control over financial reporting as a basis of designing our audit procedures for the purpose of expressing our opinions on the financial statements, and not to provide an opinion on the effectiveness of the district's internal controls. So we did not have any internal control findings this year. The other letter that we've issued is the governance communications at the conclusion of the audit. The letter states that we've communicated the planned scope and timing of the audit in our statement of work, and also through some meetings with the Finance Committee. This letter further states that management is responsible for the selection and use of appropriate accounting principles, which are described in Note 1 to the financial statements. Accounting estimates are an integral part of financial statements, and they are determined by management. The most sensitive estimates that are reported in the financial statements include information related to the district's pension and other post-employment benefit plans, as well as disclosures related to the effectiveness of the interest rate swap. We have reviewed and determined that the estimates were reasonable in relation to the financial statements taken as a whole. So we did not encounter any significant difficulties during our audits. We also did not have any disagreements with management. There were no uncorrected misstatements, and also there were no audit adjustments to the financial statements. To our knowledge, management did not consult with any other accountants regarding any auditing and accounting matters. And that concludes my presentation. If there is any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Great, thank you very much. Anyone have questions? Excellent.
Thank you.
And this being a receive and file, do we need a vote?
You do.
Okay, look then for a motion to.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? If not, Tammy, when the system catches up, if you would do a roll call vote, please.
Director Torres?
Yes.
Director Dinstedt?
Aye.
Director Roten?
Yes.
Director Risby?
Yes.
President Gardner?
Aye.
Thank you. The motion carries 5-0.
Great, thank you very much. And again, congratulations to our staff. This is the kind of report you always want to see, and sometimes you don't get to, although not here. Next item is reports. Mr. General Counsel.
Yes, Mr. President, and members of the board, two things. As the board will recall, at the last board meeting, I provided some printouts of some of BBK's new laws series. We actually have another set of those series coming out dealing with housing legislation. Even though Western isn't really in the business of housing, housing obviously is impacted by water. And so I'll print out that series and bring it to the board at an upcoming meeting for the board's review. Secondarily, there was an issue raised at the last board meeting about Director Torres's absence at a recent CASA conference. I've been looking into that, and I'll finalize my review and provide a board memo within the next few days.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Miller.
Okay, I'm ready. You ready? I got a lot. First, I want to report that we're on a traveling roadshow with our plaque of a top workplace. Just want to remind everyone that we have a top workplace. We're very proud of that here. We have had a 3-day shutdown from Met that we've just completed. So Department of Water Resources needed to fix a leaking valve on the Santa Ana Valley feeder. You'll recall quite a few years ago, a contractor drilled through the middle of that line and caused us to have about a 1-month shutdown in 2 different parts. So they had another problem on that line. We went through and notified all of our customers. Ops did a great job working with RPU to make sure that we were ready for that shutdown, fill our tanks. The other thing that we were able to implement this year, and this is one of the things that we were really pushing for the last time Met had a shutdown, is we were able to fully utilize our Sterling Pump Station and La Sierra pipeline so that nobody knew we had a shutdown because we were sending water from the Arlington to Salter up into the Mills Gravity line so that we really didn't have any slowdown in service. In fact, I think we actually gained storage during the shutdown using our new enterprise system. So that was really good news. It's over. We got through it. So this is the time of year they're always doing their shutdowns because of low demand. So that worked out great. I missed the last board meeting because I was up in Sacramento. So I just wanted to give a little bit of a report on what we were doing up there. So Sarah and Michael and I had a 4-day adventure up there. So we went to the CMUA Capitol Day, which is a day, half day of presentations by legislators and then half day of office visits. So we did that. We thought we would see Director Roten in the hallways up there because the Monday morning group was on the same schedule, but they couldn't get flights up there. So I got lucky and got a late night flight on Sunday, as did Sarah. Michael flew up Monday morning, but it was an adventure of a flight, I'll tell you that. It was one heck of a roller coaster getting there. Luckily, the plane landed on its wheels. So their CMUA, as you'll recall, is a sponsor of SB 366, so it was really important that we be there to talk to the other CMUA members and to listen to the legislators. A lot of what CMUA presented was on the energy side, the power side, because they're power and water, not as much on the water side. But it was great to be there. Our office visits went great. The following day is a CMUA board meeting for half a day, so I attended that on the board of directors and on the executive committee there, so we got to be there for that. Highlights, and then the last 2 days, we actually did what Heather Dyer coined as a road show. We wanted to go and try and build more support for the bill in Northern California. So we spent 2 days traveling around, meeting with entities and agencies, trying to develop more support. We're doing great on support, but not as great in Northern California as we are in Southern California. And in the Central Valley, we're doing really well. So Michael provided me with a list of meetings that we had. So we met with Assemblymember Kate Sanchez's office. We met with Senator Ciarto, Assemblymember Corey Jackson, the office of Bill Asaley. We met with Senator Roth, and we met with Assemblymember Cervantes. So great meetings during Capitol Day. And then as far as California Water for All, we had a really good meeting with the California Manufacturing and Technology Association. So they're all in, thought it was great what we're doing. They're full supporters. We met with the League of California Cities, Regional Water Authority, California Chamber of Commerce, East Bay Mud, Yuba Water Agency, Marin Municipal Water District, Dublin San Ramon Community Services District, and Alameda County Water District. So super busy. Probably the most important meeting that we had, you'll recall that the bill stalled in Water Parks and Wildlife in the Assembly last year. So we were able to get a meeting with the new chair of that committee, Assemblymember Pappen out of San Mateo. So we met with her and the committee consultant. It was the sponsors of the bill and myself. So CMUA, CSAC, and SEEB were all there. So we had a great meeting with her. Very encouraged by the meeting. She said that her number one priority is going to be developing infrastructure and local water supply. So that was great. And then she went on and shared a little bit more about why she feels that way. She's an attorney by education and trade, and her first city council position at San Mateo, the public works director took her under his wing and walked her around and taught her how important infrastructure was. So I think she's going to be a really advantageous addition for us and the bill. So that was great news. So really good trip. Next item on the dais, you have an op-ed that ran last week. So last Wednesday, February 14th, the Southern California News Group digitally published a California Water for All opinion piece co-authored by Heather Dyer and myself. And it focused on the need for setting targets. So it ran hard copy in 11 different publications across Southern California on Friday. So great work by KP it takes a lot of work with the editorial board to get something like that in. It doesn't just happen by accident. So a huge effort by the steering committee of California Water for All and KP to really get out and push. And this isn't the only op-ed. We've had op-eds run in the Bay Area and in Sacramento. So they're doing an outstanding job for us.
Unfortunately, the version on the dais is cut off, and we're making arrangements to email you a copy that has all the text in it, so.
Well, I've got it. I could just read the entire article to you. And my next door neighbor, I know it worked because my next door neighbor brought me his Orange County Register and said, "Is this you?"
You autograph it?
No, he left it with me. He wasn't that interested. He just read it. But if Jim's reading it, that's a good sign. So, let's see what else. Okay, this one is really cool. So we were contacted by American Dream TV. So they wanted to, I don't know how they found us, they wanted to highlight our innovative water management strategies. So we were spotlighted on the national stage with a segment on Bloomberg TV called American Dream. American Dream focuses on really private sector entrepreneurs. So for a public agency to get on talking about water is really kind of a foul ball for them. So really honored that they reached out and contacted us. So it's really, I think it's really a credit to the partnerships that we've developed and the innovative strategies that Western's been implementing that got noticed on a national stage. Great opportunity for us to represent our team, the region, and really the water industry, because I don't know that it's been on Bloomberg TV before. So the segment really, and we'll play it for you in a minute, but the segment looked at how we're trying to kind of transform the way local agencies talk about water and are trying to implement water projects. With that, I thought I'd turn it over to Sarah, because Sarah really kind of landed this thing, and she could talk a little bit more about what we're going to do with it.
Certainly, and it's certainly my pleasure to show the board and our community our story about Western Water, how we are a leader for the region. I think this segment really is a testament to our employees who are working hard every day and dedicating their time and talents to really lead and live into our mission and values as set and supported by our own board of directors. So once we show this to you today, like Craig mentioned, it did run on Bloomberg TV, which reaches more than 310 million households, and will be aired also digitally later in the year. We do have access to all of the footage and the video piece itself, so of course you'll be seeing this running across Western Water's platforms, shared throughout the community at our events, and integrated into the way we talk about what it is Western serves to our community, always thinking about our member agencies, our region, and being that leader for water service delivery in the community. So really proud moment for us. I want to give also a special recognition to our strategic communications manager, Grace Cardenas, and the communications team who worked really hard in partnership with the American Dream crew to build out the messages, to locate shooting areas, and also support the on-camera talent that you will have the ability to watch here shortly. And like I said, they've just done a phenomenal job working with the crews so that our story is shown to the communities, and really, again, just to add that value for our customers, really connecting them to our work that's more than just the drop coming out of their faucet. So with that, I'll turn it back over to the general manager. Let
Do we
her-
have it?
We do, we're ready to go.
All right, Justin, fire it up.
When an entrepreneur sees a problem that's bigger than they are, they do not cower in fear. For people of Western Water, their daunting challenge brought by the water crisis has fired them up to create a solution for future generations.
Well, I think when we were formed back in 1954, we had one sole purpose, and that was to import water to the service area. So as the locals had groundwater and other local sources, they recognized that there wasn't enough water for the future. And so Western was formed specifically to import water into the region to blend with the local water supply. But as we've evolved and the area's grown enormously, we quickly recognized that we needed to provide other services as well. So Western has kind of evolved into providing local water supply along with imported water supply. And we're the largest growing county in the state. And so we have to make sure that we're ensuring enough water supply for the future.
Apart from providing safe, high-quality, and reliable water, Western Water realized they needed to take a much bolder approach to help solve the water crisis. And this means going above and beyond the confines of their comfort zone.
Western has a very deep water conservation ethic. We've been leaders in the state in water conservation, turf rebates, we have budget-based rates, we have financial incentives for customers to reduce their use of water. But we're moving beyond that. And one of the things that we hear from customers is, we're already conserving. What more can we do? What they can do is they need to understand that water is a valuable commodity and we need to invest in it.
The ultimate intersectional issue, right? You hear California have ambitious goals for housing and ambitious goals for emissions reduction, for energy, for the economy, right? We know we're really proud that we're the 5th largest economy in the world, all of which is immediately undone when your water supply is not reliable, high quality, and it has been the downfall of nations, the downfall of civilizations. The climate change that we're experiencing has made it more critical than ever that Western Water thinks outside of the box. In particular, it means going beyond our service area. Our service area is supported by about 40 to 50% local water, which means about 50 to 60% is still coming from Northern California, about 527 miles away through statewide systems. And just over a year and a half ago, that statewide system was unable to deliver Southern California its normal allocation of water. So that's where Western Water sat here and thought, we're not just going to sit by. We have to do something. We have to motivate the state to invest in California's statewide water system so that we can continue meeting the moment now and for the future for our community and customers.
And knowing that California's future is on the line, Craig and his team took it a step further to build alliances that have never been seen in the water industry.
Some people might have heard the quote by Mark Twain that whiskey's for drinking and water's for fighting. Well, given this complex world, we really have to do things differently, and that looks like working together. Coming arm in arm with our partner water providers to say we have the same mission to deliver water, and it's no longer about fighting for what's just mine, but instead dropping those floodgates and working together in unique ways to be able to deliver, move, and provide that water.
The tradition in the water industry has been to protect your castle. You know, build your kingdom, build a wall around your kingdom, don't share. And I think what's happening today is we got to break down the walls. Instead of building for your own supply, you build for the region. It's expensive to build water projects. We need to save our customers money by collaborating and sharing resources rather than reinvesting in redundant resources. Historically, water agencies haven't gotten along very well. So they would fight one another, and that's not to anyone's benefit. And I think by developing these collaborative approaches, we get a team, And so what's good for one entity is good for the other entity.
Now that Western Water has given many years for this significant cause, they are not about to stop anytime soon.
Well, for the future for Western Water, we want to increase our local supplies and be able to have more local supplies because it increases our reliability. If something were to happen up in Northern California and a pipeline can't get us that water, we're in trouble. So it's really important that we make those investments into local supplies. So Western recently has purchased private groundwater rights to have and supply our customers for generations to come. We've also increased our long-term agreements with neighboring agencies, something that really hasn't been done a lot in this region. So we have long-term agreements to share infrastructure, to share surplus water supplies. All of these things bring together the community and help us achieve our goal of creating, a sound future for our customers.
We need all of our community to really take on the value of water and demand that it be a normal topic of conversation, an everyday topic, an everyday investment, and an expectation that we are prioritizing investment in our water delivery systems first, so that then other parts of our community, parts of our economy can thrive and flourish.
So that was really cool. It's a lot of effort. Hats off to Grace and Sarah for pulling that off. And Mallory, the face of the where is Mallory? She's hiding. She didn't want to see her. She's working. Oh, she's working. She's working on local water supply. We're really happy the way that came out. We've been kind of waiting and anxious to know if it was going to come out. You don't really know after you film it. So glad that finally landed. Just to kind of finish up my report, and it kind of builds on that partnership and getting outside of our region. SEEB, one of the sponsors of the bill, set up several meetings with labor. And so I didn't highlight that, but we met with 3 different labor union representatives. And then Michael and Sarah set up a meeting with Rebuild SoCal, 4th labor organization. And we're really working hard to get outside of the water industry and bring on partners to support the legislation because, water is, the economy is going to tank if we don't get enough water, and labor is going to hurt. And, oh, by the way, all these projects that we're really pushing for are going to be built by labor. So it's creating huge job opportunities. And so between, our work with ag to get, farming and all the ag entities on board, and now hopefully getting labor to commit to the program, we feel like we're really making some great strides. So before I turn it over to Josh to give you a water supply update, any questions on my report? All right.
Doesn't look like.
Josh?
Thank you, Craig. Good morning, President Gardner, members of the board. I'm excited to give the water supply update for this month, especially considering the rain this week. So I'll jump right in. Today's report will provide a monthly update for water supply, demand, and storage conditions for the calendar year 2024 and tracks the hydrologic conditions for water year 2023-24. If we look back a few months, in late December, a storm barreled through Oxnard, delivered months worth of rain in less than an hour. And in January, similarly, historic event drenched San Diego in more rain in a few hours than the area typically sees in all of January. You can see a photo there. Both were called 1,000-year events, so that means 0.1% likelihood that happens. This prompted the governor to declare states of emergency, and the official rain gauges at San Diego International Airport measured about 2.7 inches from the storm, the site's 4th wettest day on record. On this slide, we'll start with precipitation of the local 3 watersheds. On the left, you'll see Los Angeles watershed. These totals are as of Saturday, so just prior to this week's storm. The bar shows the historical maximum in light blue, the water year in solid blue, and the historical average in red. For the LA watershed, the water year to date is almost 15 inches, or 126% of average. In the middle of the Santa Ana watershed, you'll see that it's just about 13 inches and 118% of average. And on the right, you'll see the Santa Margarita watershed, which covers the cities of Temecula, Murrieta, Wildomar, portions of Fallbrook, and others. The water year to date is over 10 inches, or 123% of average. On the left is a stunning picture of Lake Shasta from Monday, when it was about 84% full. The storm that arrived on Sunday brought heavy rain to the northern half of the state, first before making its way down on Monday. Since the storm's arrival, Lake Shasta and Lake Oroville in Northern California have risen nearly 6 feet and 5 feet respectively. On the right, you'll see the levels of the major reservoirs as of Monday. Both Shasta and Oroville at the top left are well over the average, 120, 130%. Reservoir levels are in really good shape so far this winter. Of the 17 reservoirs, all but one are above average. So that's pretty fantastic. This is a quick little video we have here. There we go. So at the end of January, the Department of Water Resources released from Lake Oroville for flood purposes, and you can see here a video. I'll load it a little bit. At the end of last week, DWR increased the water releases from the lake in advance of the series of storms. During the winter months, releases from Lake Oroville provide flood protection to downstream communities by maintaining storage capacity in the reservoir for additional rain capture. DWR coordinates releases closely with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers and other operators and adjusts the releases as needed to account for a continuing runoff. Lake Oroville is the largest storage facility in the State Water Project and provides flood protection while supporting environmental and water delivery needs. In 2023, Oroville's dam main spillway passed over 2.3 million acre-feet of water, with flows as high as 36,000 CFS, so cubic feet per second. I'll just kind of click through here onto the next one.
That's so beautiful.
I'll just kind of click onto the next slide here. Justin's trying to help me out. Thanks, Justin. Here you'll see some satellite images of the Sierra Nevada mountains. The image on the left was taken on January 29th, just prior to the early February storms. The image on the right was taken on February 11th, just following the early month storm. On average, the Sierra snowpack supplies about 30% of the state's water for the entire needs that we have. Despite receiving a lot of precipitation so far this year, most of it has been in the form of rain, not snow, and so we'll see a little bit more of that on the next slide. So heading into another round of Pacific storms, California's snowpack is behind the average, nowhere near last year's records, as you can see here in the comparison between 2023 and 24. The February snow survey reflected a modest increase in snowpack since January, with overall conditions still far below average. The snow survey at the time indicated that the statewide snowpack snow water equivalent was just over 8 inches, or 52% of average. 1 year ago, the snowpack statewide was 215% of average in February. As of today, the overall statewide snowpack is 85% of the average for the day. Even though this winter has provided below average snowpack overall, it can just take one storm, as we've seen, to really raise those levels, so we're really hoping for that. Maybe I'll shift here just a little bit. A week ago, on February 14th, the Northern Sierra snowpack was about 16 inches and about 79% of average. And looking over at the Colorado River, you'll see here that the snowpack there in the upper Colorado River was about 10 inches of water content, or 99% of normal. And, I'm going to go back one slide. What I forgot to mention is in just 1 week, as of this morning, the snowpack here is now 99% of normal. So 79 to 99. So that kind of shows you all it takes is hopefully a really good storm to ramp these numbers up for us. Colorado remains at 99%. And then looking more at the local level, so you'll see 2 charts on the left, and those show some of the local snowfall that we received prior to this week's storm. And so you can see in early February, Wrightwood got as much as 15 inches in just 1 day. So that was pretty impressive, just one 24-hour period. This week's storm has brought about 5 inches overall so far. In early February, you'll see that Big Bear received over 20 inches over the 4 days of storm, and this week is looking about 6 inches. If you look at the map on the right, you can see that the snow depth as of Monday, the current totals for Wrightwood were upwards of 30 inches, and the Big Bear area was showing over 20 inches as of Monday. And here, let me see 1 second here. Actually, all right. So the atmospheric rivers that we've seen have delivered a lot of precipitation throughout the region. As much as 40% of the water year normal precipitation for parts of Southern California. So we've kind of seen these scattered events. Snow drought conditions are improving, but the Sierra Nevada remains below normal, right? We're right there about normal. The ongoing cold and wet pattern is expected to continue over the coming days and weeks. And really what's going to be the key in determining how well we do for snowpack is going to be the temperature. And you can see there on Southern California, you'll see that it's kind of equal chances. As you move your way north on California, you'll see it gets a little warmer, so a little above average temperatures there. So we might not see as much snow as we hope in the next months. And now for a little update on the Metropolitan's water surplus and drought management, or WISDOM. And I like to start here at the bottom. If you see the bottom there, you'll see 800,000 acre-feet of Colorado River supply, followed by nearly 200,000 acre-feet of State Water Project supply, which is the 10% allocation that we're currently in. Together, those bring us to a total of just over 1 million acre-feet, as shown on the dashed line. The current demand forecast is just over 1.5 million acre-feet, so that supply-demand gap is about 500,000 there. However, it's relatively early in the year, and a wide range of potential supply and demand balances remain possible. Should supplies remain low and the allocation remain at 10%, Metropolitan has storage available to be able to satisfy that demand. They're also exploring water transfers, so they'll be taking actions hopefully in the coming months to bring some to their board to continue to keep these storage that they have right now in reserves. The graphic on the right is an illustration intended to show how MWD is balanced in a situation where the State Water Project allocation is between, call it 20, 25, and 30%. An allocation over 30% results in a surplus conditions for Metropolitan and triggers their surplus programs such as cyclic, cost offset, conjunctive use programs. The current allocation remains at 10%. Further increases to the allocation will depend on the upcoming hydrologic conditions. There's plenty of speculation as to where we'll end for the year. I think we're all taking bets behind us to see where we land. But the final allocation is typically determined in May and June. MWD is also coordinating with its member agencies on developing a supplemental water management program. So this is supposed to be for extreme wet events. So in the case that we get storms, atmospheric rivers come through, and this program would then go into effect, and it's still under discussion, hoping to go in spring to Metropolitan's board. But the program is intended to really help them manage extreme wet weathers. So hopefully agencies can continue to partner with them and get water into the ground. And as I mentioned, they are pursuing securing water in 2024 to preserve their storage reservoirs. And then some of the final highlights, we're closely tracking the allocation and hope to hear some good news soon. Western Water has continued exploring and coordinating with partner agencies and is ready to utilize MWD's surplus programs if and when they go into surplus conditions. And lastly, I'm happy to report that over the last several months, through the board's direction and support, and through the various agreements and partnerships, the Western Water team has been able to successfully bank over 5,500 acre-feet, which is nearly a quarter of what our goal was back in April of last year. So very excited to report that and happy to take any questions.
Okay, any questions? Looks like not. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good news. Okay, this brings us to directors' reports and requests. Because of the event that is following this meeting, we're not going to do our normal agency reports today. So any specific director reports or requests? Okay, moving right along, we've got some informational items in the package, and I believe we have a closed session coming up. Mr. Ballinger.
Yes, the board will be meeting with legal counsel to review the one item that is listed up on the agenda.
Are we ready to head out?
We are.
Okay.
Technical support, we're just doing a quick mic check. Might be a little bit loud. Test 1, 2. Test 1, 2. Do I sound okay? All right, going a little bit louder. Still testing. Test 1, 2. Test 1, 2.
One more time.
All right, one more test. Test 1, 2. Test 1, 2. Just testing out the mics right now if you're on Zoom.
Okay. Thank you.
go?
We're ready to go.
Okay, we have returned from closed session. Mr. General Counsel, do you have a report?
Yes, the board met in closed session to discuss the one item of existing litigation that's listed on the agenda, and there was no reportable action.
Okay, and that then brings us to the end of our agenda. Our next meeting is Wednesday, March 6th at 9:30. Unless something really bad happens, it'll be here.
Oh, no.
So, we'll hope it doesn't.
No. Why put that in the universe?
And with that, we will be adjourned.